Good afternoon, everyone. This meeting of the Guam Education Board will be called to order after we go through verifying that this meeting has been publicized as required by the Open Government Law on Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, and Sunday, December 14th, 2025. And it will be also live streamed on our YouTube channel. Welcome, everybody. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ada, Miss Angel, Miss Belletto, Dr. Guthert, Miss Gutierrez, Dr. McNish, Mr. Torres, Dr. Okada, Mr. Sablan.
Mr. Rizzo.
Roll is complete.
There being a quorum present, we now call this meeting to order. First off, I'd like to welcome the newest member to our board, representing parents, Mr. Carl Torres. Welcome. Hopefully, you've been through a few committee meetings already, so you know what you're getting yourself into. We're still here. So welcome to our mayor representative, Mayor BJ Terlaje. And the only missing member is, of course, she's excused for medical, Ms. Christine Bolevin, but everybody else is here. We also have our iBox member here, Tia Jackson. He's in high school. Welcome. But before we go into the regular agenda, I'd like to recognize Ms. Maria Gutierrez. You know, we have a few deaths in the GDOE family, and she would be the one to make those announcements. Ms. G?
It's working.
Colleagues, I would like to all of you ask a moment of silence. That there's some special people that have left us. One very special, and I have worked with her very closely, her support staff, Christine San Nicolas. Christine has always been there for the board. So organized, but unfortunately, she left us. So board, I was at the funeral, and on behalf of the Guam Education Board, I did prepare and bought flowers to represent all of us and as an expression of our appreciation to Christy and her family. Another individual that I have the opportunity, and I know even Mr. my colleague, Mr. Ada, I think Mr. Dr. McInch and Dr. Godfrey had the opportunity was Mr. Conrad Stinson. He also, although we sometimes have differences between the union and the department and the board, but he's always very respectful. And also an employee who lost her father-in-law, Angelina Bay. So I ask that we have a moment of silence in honor of them. Thank you.
Eternal rest unto them, O Lord, and speculation upon them. Also, we'd like to add on, we had an incident over the weekend, though it was not here on Guam, but nonetheless, thousands of miles away, we can feel it because it's in an education system. And it's something that I've always, not just as chair or vice chair, but and as a member of this board, is the safety of our students. And what happened over the weekend at Brown University, with 2 students killed and 9 injured, it still hits home because we have a university here, we have a community college, we have our schools, we have an entire education system. And we pray that that would never, ever come to Guam or ever happen here. So remember them also in your prayers as they, for strength and for peace and for calm. Thank you. To celebrate our success, we have 2, I think one individual is here and the other one is still in her teaching duties. And so we'd like to recognize Carolyn Haruo. Congratulations on your leadership and impact in promoting environmental stewardship, which was highlighted by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Come on up. You're an environment of different-minded people, different opinionated people, but they all work for education. Okay. Okay, we will. And we also want to recognize her colleague, Melanie Bloss, for the same thing, recognition from the National Association for work with the environment. Thank you so much.
Mel's still in school.
Howdy everybody. I run a program called the Ocean Garden School Program. I am only 2% of the program. The other 90%, 98%, they're at their homes because they woke up at 4 a.m. So they're sleeping, but yeah, this is theirs. Thank you.
She's from Palau. Palau has a beautiful environment to protect, and they are protecting it. So, congratulations to them. Yes. Yes. Today seems like we have a long agenda, but we do not, because simply we are going to defer and respect that there is an incoming superintendent that will be here. Hopefully, when the contract has gone through all the paperwork, will be here in 16 days. And our current superintendent, Dr. Eric Swanson, this will be his last board meeting. And he will also be leaving us in a few days. This weekend, he will be leaving Guam. And so at the end of this meeting, if any of the members wanted to say anything for Dr. Swanson, we will give you that honor to do so. But we will dispense with much of the agenda here except for action items that we have to look forward to. First off is the public participation. Ms. Jadis, do you want to say anything before?
Mr. Chair, Dr. Wampat is not here this afternoon. He's feeling ill and hopes she'll be back tomorrow. And we'll be communicating with Dr. Swanson. She's under the weather, but she's watching us online stream. Thank you.
Okay. So on the consent calendar for the minutes of November 6th, November 25th, and the superintendent's report on November 25th, do I see here a motion?
So moved.
Second? Moved and seconded. Any objection? So these reports and the minutes are hereby approved. Public participation. I know that we have a few people here. One of them is from the Fanijakan Chamorro, which we actually heard from at our last meeting. And they're on the agenda for this meeting. But we want you to know that even without hearing from you, we've already given you our commitment. This board at least has given you our commitment to find every way possible to make sure that the former LBJ Elementary School becomes the Fanijakan Chamorro School. But having said that, there is a process. The law was just signed about a month ago that requires GDOE to set up a committee for the transfer, lease, use, or anything that we want to do with facilities that are not being currently used by GDOE. So we're gonna honor that process, but of course there'll be 3 board members that will be on that committee. And like I said, we've already given you our commitment. So we know that we can look forward to Chamorro being strengthened in our schools and Chamorro being promoted in our schools as much as we can. So Fanijakan Chamorro, I think I told you at the last meeting, I think you can all Maigo Maulik because siempre ikut terata, especialmente ilingwahita, ningayan nata juti, pat ningayan nata sanda. Siempre tori tiempo ta suporti. Pues ang malagom zu mangwentos, kaya kem juga nigilista lob, o tunga esta na kutsa tiin hingog kinin hamzo, esta intingwa apagagi corazon mami. Siempre ben ajuda hamzo.
Viva tomorrow!
Viva! Pues zangin manawalagom zu bese di hamzo pues an loal tita necesita. Solo malagom man noise jus masi. Mr. Teria?
Yeah, but often Dr. Nasidus Masi pudi Valopi Kilis Donu para usangan ayun lopi lo undang tulunan si Jus Masi jauh be manainahu menyeluruh dan Dr. Swanson dan Toram undang tulunan si Jus Masi ki Ifani Zakat Samuru sempre I plano va lopi piniponi lo jauh lopi be nai si Tun Babi tiempo ni para kwentus nayon sa matua mata si Tun Babi ni para usangan diri po nanti ipatani net nun lalahin buahan. Sunod Babi?
And for Dr. Swanson, that means Young Men's League of Guam.
Yeah, soon to be the
You're part of it, but you're still young.
May I say? Matuto pagos at tungo na esta in decide na parang sa proteste pinaisin ni eskwela Panitakan sinipok da pagos after tungo sta na in decide da benayam do taklo na cemento na patasiga sumodso mona lingwaita jan kulturata sa coffee potante na para manatati na pamagun. Alo po tempo daw na be taita este kakta ginin gifino English para matupendi mo ito. On behalf of the Young Men's League of Guam, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on this issue. I apologize that I didn't know the decision was made earlier to support them, but I applaud that decision. So on behalf of my board, Dr. Swanson, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, members of the community here, education officials, my name is Bobby Piauki. I'm the president of the Young Men's League of Guam, formerly known as the Inetnun Lalahing Guahan. And our main goal is to promote, perpetuate, and defend the Chamorro language and culture. And through that, through our nonprofit organization, we support education and opportunities that give young people the opportunities to further their education in the Chamorro language. Just earlier this year, we started the Andrew T. Laguarnia Sablan on Chamorro Studies and Chamorro Teacher Track Studies with the University of Guam in partnership with them. So I'd just like to read our letter from our board. Buenas and Hafaday Education Board members and Superintendent of Education. On behalf of the Nenulalahing Wahan, YMLG, we express our strong support for Fanijaka and Chamorro's request to utilize the former LBJ Elementary School for the purpose of advancing Chamorro medium education in Guahan. Fanijaka and Chamorro, Guahan's first Chamorro medium immersion elementary program housed at Don Pedro Camacho Elementary School since 1919, now needs additional space to expand its programming. Fanijaka and Chamorro represents a critical and timely response to the urgent need to restore Chamorro language use across generations. Its work directly addresses language loss by centering immersion-based learning, community engagement, and culturally grounded instruction that reflects the live realities, values, and identity of the Chamorro people. This approach aligns with best practices in indigenous language revitalization and contributes meaningfully to long-term cultural sustainability. Inetnun Lalahing Guahan recognizes Fanijaka and Chamorro and the Chamorro Studies Division as a trusted and capable organization with demonstrated commitment, integrity, and leadership. Since its opened its doors 7 years ago, the program emphasizes on language as a living, community-rooted practice, not merely an academic subject. Sets it apart and makes it an essential partner in broader educational, cultural, and civic efforts throughout Guahan. Inetnun Lalahing Guahan further recognizes that this request presents minimal operational impact when compared to activating a brand new campus. Fanijaka and Chamorro's proposed use respects existing infrastructure, prioritizes safety and compliance, and offers a cost-effective solution that benefits both the program and the broader community. The presence of an active mission-driven program also contributes to facility upkeep, community safety, and neighborhood revitalization. We believe that granting access to revitalize an existing school for this purpose sends a powerful message that Guam Department of Education is committed not only to preserving its indigenous language in principle, but to taking concrete, responsible action to support its use, transmission, and growth. For these reasons, Inetnun Lalahing Guahan fully supports Fanijaka and Chamorro's requests and respectfully urges approval, which you have given, and I applaud that. And we stand ready to support collaborative efforts that ensure the successful implementation and long-term sustainability of this initiative. Viva Chamorro.
Viva Chamorro. And just to clarify, at the last board meeting, what we had mentioned was the request from Fanijaka and Chamorro actually did not need board approval. It's an operational issue, and we leave it to the superintendent and his staff to make that decision. But our current superintendent respectfully is going to give that opportunity to our incoming superintendent, Dr. Judy Wampat, to put together, because now there is a law that was recently enacted that delineates how we deal with vacant schools or facilities under the purview and jurisdiction of ZDOE. But even with that, there are 3 board members that will be on that committee. And like we're saying at the last meeting, we're saying now, unless somebody here objects, that we support Panizakan tomorrow. And with full disclosure, as chair, some may say I'm in a conflict of interest because my ex-wife and my daughter run the Hurrah Academy, which is also an expression of teaching Chamorro, especially immersion. But for me, it's not a conflict of interest, it's a harmony of interest. Because while I support them, I fully support all of you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and we wish Dr. Swanson well in his, the rest of his journey in life. And we look forward to working with the new superintendent, my classmate, Dr. Judith Wampat.
Thank you. So Jimmy, I know you have your daughter and others here because we've already expressed our, it's probably best that we just let them know that. Malik Todo? Okay, está. iBox, Tijan High School, Tia? Yes, Dr. G. Okay, and I'll let Dr. Wampa know that, and also Mr. Ada has volunteered to be on that committee. We need one more member to volunteer, so Ms. G. So we have 3 members that have volunteered to be. So Panizakan, you got Dr. Guthers, Ms. G, and Mr. Ada, and they're all in support of you. Pues, buen viaje, Pwede Mali Todo and Mizu. Merry Christmas to all of you. For the record, Dr. Swans, please indicate that our appointed member, Mr. Fedenko, is also present at this meeting. Tia, please, my dear.
Hello, my name is Tia Jackson. I'm an iBox representative, and I will be sharing input from all of the high schools regarding Board Policy 705. To preface, iBox understands the amendments and revisions being made to BP 705, and we will wait for 7 minutes. To start off, after reviewing the input from all public high schools, students reached a strong consensus opposing Board Policy 705, and they emphasized that removing exemptions for food-based fundraisers would severely limit student councils, clubs, athletic teams, and graduating classes. This would essentially limit them from funding activities like prom, athletics, and most importantly, graduation. While students support healthy choices, they stress that these events are student-funded, not supported by GDOE in terms of the money, and eliminating food fundraisers would place financial strain on families and reduce student engagement as well as leadership opportunities. Again, each school expressed concerns regarding the proposed amendments to Board Policy 705, and I'm just going to be saying a summary of all of them, starting with John F. Kennedy, who highlighted the importance of activity days and fundraisers for students, leadership collaboration, and funding senior activities. They specifically emphasized that removing these opportunities would limit both engagement and essential funding. Next, Teason High School focused on the impracticality of limiting fundraisers to culturally related foods, noting that most foods have cultural origins. And they also stressed that schools already have designated culture days like United Nation Days and Guba Chamorro, where they give samples of foods for free rather than for profit, and restricting fundraisers in this way could reduce participation and lessen the significance of said events. George Washington High School emphasized the financial impact on clubs, athletics, and senior activities, while also noting that food fundraisers provide real-world learning opportunities such as entrepreneurship, marketing, and teamwork. Simon Sanchez High School stressed that social and emotional value for food fundraisers, noting that moderate consumption of non-healthy food is not harmful and limiting fundraisers would reduce school spirit and enjoyment. And finally, Uguru High School highlighted that prohibiting sales during the school day, including to faculty and staff, would severely limit fundraising opportunities for clubs, student organizations, making it essentially difficult to sustain student engagement and activities. Overall, all of the schools expressed similar concerns regarding the board policy, noting that it does not align with student organization relying on food sales. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Tia. Ms. G.
Mr. Chair, I want to thank the iBox because all of them submitted their comments on Board Policy 705. And yesterday, when we had this work session, another document popped up, only to find out that they're continuing to make some changes, revision, and principals that I talked to have not seen any revision for their input. And now that we have the parent representative that will reach out to the PTOs, and I commend the iBox because they're taking the position. And this is what happened when the management comes to the board with recommendation revision, but they did not go back to the stakeholders. We continue to say stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Are those those that are employed at DOE? How many of those are in that? Who are the stakeholders that were reached? So this revision, and I'm going to ask when it comes to policy that we defer this until the new superintendent comes in and her new management team, that we proceed. This is because this is not a matter of life and death. Our students are being denied to have any so on the policy. I understand yesterday they wanted to move to SOP. Remember, colleagues, SOP is run by management. Board policy is run by the board. So I want to thank Tia for representing the iBox, because all their comments is they are opposing any amendment to the board policy until they give us reasons and the listing of the healthy snacks. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to commend my iBox. They did a good job. Thank you, Tia.
Thank you, Ms. G. As I had mentioned earlier, much of the stuff that's being discussed now, we are deferring actually to the incoming superintendent. We'll be having a retreat with her and her team on the 28th of January. If the board members have not yet been notified, it's a Sunday, I believe. 28th is a Sunday. And we will be meeting with her unless, am I wrong?
29.
Okay, she told me 28, but it's one of those.
What date is it?
But nonetheless,
What date is, what is the day?
Monday. If it's the 29th, it's a Monday. But we'll get more info from Dr. Wampat. She's on watching, so she can correct us if we're mistaken. But the members that are from GDOE that have concerns about policy and we're taking everything under advisement. You just let us know, and there'll be no action, nothing taken until it's actually brought before the board with the new superintendent. So be just advised that whatever concerns you do have, we do know about it, and that it will be taken into consideration. Because this is just a presentation participation, we're actually not going into all this debate, but we do have our board member that has a concern and he wants to say a few words on it. Is Dr. McNinch.
Mr. Chairman, I just would like to Mr. Chairman, I recall a new executive order by President Trump
at the federal level of the Department of Education. And I would like to request that the board be provided information with respect to what those changes are, because that may have an impact on this policy.
Yes, you are correct. There are some mandates from the CFR that we cannot bypass, nor can we overlook. We must follow it, despite any feelings we may have locally. Otherwise, we are in jeopardy of losing federal funds if we do not follow those mandates. And so, if I'm mistaken, but like I said, we're in a public participation. When we come to that portion of the agenda, then we can discuss it. Okay, Dr. McNinch.
Just go ahead, you can, just stop.
I can start. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly happy holidays, everyone. Mr. Chairman, you mentioned about having a conflict. Thank you for your transparency. I think if any member has any conflicts, doing exactly what Mr. Chairman did and openly stating that's the best way to handle it. And I greatly applaud you for doing that. Absolutely. Also, right before this meeting, I had the opportunity to talk to Ms. Tia Jackson, our student member. Wonderful young lady. Ms. Gutierrez, wonderful job with the iBox students, and I'm very, very so pleased to see our student strong participation. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to suggest, I'm saying this during public participation because it's not on the agenda, so it's public participation. I would like for our committee to maybe put a standing item on our agenda that reflects things that are going on in the legislature, because we constantly have legislative items that come up that may not be on our agenda. If we just had a standing item that said legislative items. Certainly, I think as Mr. Kotor's welcome would attest, I have no hesitation to talk to the legislature. I love talking to the legislature. I'll talk in front of them and behind their back anytime I want. And I think that the more we do that, the better. The more vocal we are with our elected leaders, the better. Call them out when they don't show up for meetings and stuff like that. That's how I am. Tomorrow night, 5:30, they have a meeting about our board. And we should all maybe either write and give them participation or tell them what our participation is. And I think that that would certainly be to our benefit to show up tomorrow night if we're so inclined. So I just want to make sure all the board members knew about that. For me, if they're going to change the board, I have some suggestions. I just want to list them very quickly. I think all 9 board members should be elected. I don't think there should be appointed board members, just elect them all. And the age for running for the board should be lowered from 25 down to 18. Let 18-year-olds run for the board. That'd be healthy for everybody. I think that the board should be 6-year terms rather than 2-year terms. It should be staggered every 2 years, so that every 2 years, 3 additional ones are elected. That would make the board more stable, and it would provide more election liveliness, so to speak. I think that making the board have more governing powers or adjusting what the board can do governing-wise would help us, and I think that's a healthy discussion. Certainly, there are all kinds of board-related powers that we need to really look at in the Guam Code itself. We've never been asked for input on those things as this board. We should take that opportunity to tell them what we think, because it's not, we serve our students, the legislature serves themselves. And we need to remind them of that we're here to serve our students, and we need our laws to reflect that. Mr. Chairman, I think that there's going to be a lot, as Dr. Guthers mentions, there's going to be a lot of federal changes. Some of those changes can benefit us. We should be aware of them and recommend to the legislature how we can make adjustments to accommodate these interesting things that are going on in the federal government and make the most out of them and try to get us as much money as possible out of the federal government. I think there's nothing wrong with asking for more money, and I think that we need to be inclined to do so. And Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I know I've spent my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manich. I know that early on, when first Dr. Guthers came on board, we toyed with the idea that we would have a legislative committee. And I think we did ask her to chair that committee. And so we can put it on here, and Dr. Guthers, you're it for as far as reporting to us. And Dr. Manich is correct. We have so many, sometimes we can't even go to the legislature to testify as a board because we simply we were not given enough time to be able to come together and meet. As you know, we cannot as a board, present testimony if we haven't even met to decide what this testimony is going to be. We can go there on a personal basis and give them what we think or feel, but we can't speak on behalf of the board. And I think myself and Dr. McNich and Member Pete have always stated when we go before the legislation that we speak on our behalf and not on behalf of the board. But we'll put that on, Kat, make sure that's a standing on the agenda, standing committee, that legislative committee. Okay? We have one more person that has signed up, Cindy Villagomez. Cindy? She's from MASS. Oh, Maria. Okay. So that's it for the public participation. And as I mentioned earlier, do you have any correspondence? Any correspondence on the contract of Dr. Wampat?
Oh, that's from us to them, sir. It's coming to us that we put in the.
Okay. So we'll move right on. As we have said, we're going to dispense with a lot of this part of the agenda until we're done with the retreat, and then we come into the meeting with the new superintendent. But we'll go ahead with the policy review and the strategic planning committee, the amended board policies. Yes. Those decisions, policy amendments, or have you met?
Yeah, they've been on the agenda, so they've already went through first reading, second reading. So aside from, item 1 through 8 has already been on the agenda for a couple of months.
All right. I just want to make sure of that. I want to also make sure that we've already heard from iBox. Tia, you're representing the same thing? Okay. Guam Federation? Tim?
Yes, thank you. I thought we were in that part already. I didn't realize it was public participation. Okay. So happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. I'll see you in the new year. The concerns with the parapros, otherwise known as school aides, and bus drivers from the GDOE. I did realize that HR report did see an increase in that. That's good news. But the parapros or school aides are concerned about what their tasks are. They're substitute teaching, which they're not supposed to. They are one-to-one school aides without any training. They are then supervising, which is what they're supposed to be doing. They're happy about that. And sometimes they do all 3 tasks in one day. This stretches their ability to perform professionally, and hopefully you're continuing to address this by hiring enough people and substitute teachers. Long-term school aid in the classroom does not help the educational purposes of this island, and we see this many times from parents asking, why isn't there a certified teacher in my classroom or a substitute teacher in the classroom? Along that, the school buses that are down, the buses controlled for special education, those are under repair and they are short. They are short drivers. They are short buses. So now students with disabilities are being forced to ride the regular school buses with the accompaniment of a sibling, cousin, some sort of relation without chaperones. This could be a very dangerous situation, which has been brought forth by our DPW bus drivers, Chairman Tommy Arceo, and our parapro representative meeting. This putting kids on the bus that could endanger other kids if an accident happens or some sort of outburst what do you expect them to do? DPW bus drivers are not trained in this situation. That's why GDOE has their special bus unit, right? If you cannot chaperone these people and make sure that the student population is safe, then I suggest you find another method or rent a van or do something the right way so there isn't a possibility of endangering 40 kids on a school bus. It is deeply concerning for us and should be for the safety committee of this board. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Mr. Ada, and you and the committee have heard from Tim, so please take his concerns to be your concern and the board's concern so that we can deal with it. Any questions for Mr. Fedenko? Mayor's Council? Mayor Talahi?
Feliz Pascua, Zamiba Taru, Iba, Honored Nuevo para Toru Hamzu. Jesus Masi. I just wanted to follow up, Superintendent, in regards to our last meeting with the situations with the recreational facilities again that are existing in our villages that are just sitting, and we want to have use of these recreational facilities. I know the president or the chairman said last meeting that there are policies or rules that we need to follow. If possible, can we please get a copy of these policies or these rules that we have to follow so that we can start moving forward in utilizing these facilities? And then my good colleague over here, he brought up I'm just bringing up a situation in regards to safety. I know that everybody is aware of the stray dog situation that we're having on the island. And I've been reaching out to the agencies that are directly responsible for the safety of our community. Now we are already in the school year. And I'm just speaking personally that I've had numerous calls regarding the safety of the students going to and from the bus stations to catch the buses because of the fear of getting attacked by these dogs. Like my brother over here said, we in the mayor's offices, our staff are not trained to take care of these stray dogs. A lot of the people in the community have raised concerns regarding, they leave their dogs out because of possibility of trespassing, and burglarizing their homes, right? And so we are in a very unique situation here. I know that animal control under the Department of Agriculture is solely in charge of this particular situation. However, they are limited staff. That shouldn't be it should not be a reason. I wanted to know if the board had any plans in assistance with this particular situation, because just in the village of Jonia alone, I've had many calls in regards to students getting attacked by stray dogs, and I am just assuming that there's no plan. There is no plan. So I want to kind of just pick everybody's brain and see how we can assist in this particular situation. We are in the middle of the school year. The safety concern is rising, and I would not want to go into the next school year with major concerns such as this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Pete?
Thank you, Mayor, Mr. Lahi. That it falls under the health and safety, and we will bring that up, but we will bring in the Department of Agriculture into that meeting. Okay? We'll take care of that. The sooner the better.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, and I don't know how many or the management knows. There's a board policy 620, use of school other Department of Education facilities. Okay. So yeah, so you can look over it, and I hope that with it gives everything other than being used as a like typhoon shelter, right? So the only thing that they cannot use is if it's for anything about purpose of conducting religious instruction, religious services, political activities, or social gambling. So that is the board policy. Okay, so I just want to let you know. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I can only think of right now, other than Brody and LBK, I can only think of one other facility that is vacant but a hazard, in my opinion. I'm talking specifically about JP Torres in Santa Rita. To the best of your knowledge, is there any other school facility that has been vacated?
Not that I'm aware of, but there are unique situations, right? Such as like Emulahan Elementary School, where the field sits half in our jurisdiction and half of the land is in under Emulahan or GDOE. So my question would be: if we wanted to move forward in having like maybe a military sister squadron that we would like to name because they want to sponsor it so that they can fund mitigation efforts. Our hands are kind of tied because we have dual property authorization. So I know that in different villages, if we do a little bit deeper research, we will find some of these maybe public facilities that have, back then we had the pari system, right? Where, I give you land and and then later on down the line, we are faced with this type of situation. So I will bring it back to the mayor's council.
Let me take my word back. There is one other that I know of, at Ocean View. There are several buildings there, right at the left side as you enter the school. It's about 6 or 8 buildings. That's something that we will have to look
I'm happy
at.
that Ms. G mentioned board policy. So we mayors will look at this board policy and see how these facilities, should they exist in our villages, how they can be useful to our community. Because I'm sure that the mayors in every village will want to utilize some of these recreational facilities should they exist in their villages, and find the necessary funding or organizations that would like to partner or adopt these facilities. Like in JP Torres' situation with Mayor Alvarez in Santa Rita, I'm sure he has plans to move forward in trying to find funding and maybe sponsorship or adoption to get the facility up and running. But again, we need to follow this policy so that we know what our do's and don'ts are when moving forward with this.
And so a good example is their Stumbo Gym. That belongs to DOE, but it's the mayor really of Dededo that has been maintaining that, and I remember Mayor Savares was asking that they have to, I don't know if the MOU ever went through again.
Right. See,
Yeah,
so
that's a
like
good
you said, Ms.
example,
G,
yeah.
thank you. On the flip side to that, we want to know what facilities we've been using that kind of been thrown under the rug, and we need to figure out who actually has authority to be using those facilities, right? So I will bring it back to the mayor's council and mention this and see how we can move forward. And should we contact the superintendent's office directly? What are the protocols in how to?
Mayor, just put the proposals together and send it into the board, and you can CC the superintendent. Because we do have situations like that at Okudu High School. has a joint use agreement with a private organization to run their baseball fields. And so we can do that. It's just that we won't be the ones to make that proposal. The party that wants to take over has to make the proposal, so we see where it has to be a win-win situation. Southern High, we're trying to work the same thing out with the recreational facilities there because it's in disarray. And so even DPR is trying to assist in finding money and grants to enhance and repair those facilities so that the people of Santa Rita, the students of Southern High, can use it. And so there is that very viable opportunity for joint use agreements. I have no other better word, but joint use agreements between entities to make useful these facilities that can be used by not just a school, but by different organizations.
Right, and so again, thank you, Dr. Okada. We'll look into this board policy and make sure that we follow, the protocols. Thank you.
Dr. Gossage.
Um, I'm surprised that it's only now that this is coming up, right? It's my whole experience in education, especially public education, even as a former member of the board years ago. Our schools are community schools. They belong to the community, to the people in the community. They should be available to the community for after-school hours, for athletic events, for cultural events, for training, for post-school educational programs, like the GCC program, they have their GED program, training people for certain jobs that could be taught at the schools. We should be using our schools more after hours. And there should be agreements in place to ensure we have proper accountability. But we need to encourage this actually, because this will help cut down on vandalism. This will create more pride and respect for our schools beyond just the day-to-day normal educational activities that occur from 6:30 to 3 o'clock or whatever the hours are. Mr. Chairman, I think we need to make that very clear, that the DOE schools are part of the community. And when the community wants to have events and the community wants to promote youth involvement and young adult involvement, and anyone who wants to organize something beneficial to the community, we need to support that. I remember in high school, in grade school, Guam, growing up, we used the schools after hours. As a matter of fact, in high school, we had all of our dances at the cafeterias at the public schools. I still remember the Blue Notes and the other famous bands. And we had our 16th birthday party at the schools, in the cafeterias. The schools were available. We paid a small fee, and so that the staff could be there to close the school, open the school, to help us, or whatever it was. So our schools should be community facilities, not just closed off with a lock on the gate after school hours. Now, we do have a security issue, and we'll have to negotiate that with the community partners who want to use the facilities to make sure the schools are respected. But I think we can do more than we're doing, and that will help us also with the crime problem, with the behavior issues with young people, get in trouble. If you get them involved in something on a regular basis, a club, after school hours, at more athletic events, more cultural events, training opportunities for future jobs. I think we'll be doing a great service for our people. So I'm really happy the mayor brought this up. And I hope that Mr. Ada, your committee, can help facilitate this, especially we have the director of Parks and Rec right here. He has a lot of experience in this area. By the way, he was my student once. Remember, Angel?
Yes, I do. I
It was a
remember.
good student. It was a good student.
You better say
Dr.
it.
Guthers,
Thank you very much.
Dr. Guthers, Mr. Chair, what's your mic?
Mr. Adam.
You know, we seem to be forgetting, can't remember what storm it was, when it was reported that the bleacher at Southern High School was stolen. So we went down there only to find out that the bleacher was in the swimming pool. Yeah. Now, on the subject of the swimming pool, you know, we could work something out with many organizations that may be willing to lease, and the money would go to the Southern High School directly, you know? It's just sitting idle.
Why haven't we done that? I heard that before. I heard that a couple of years ago. Why didn't we do it then?
Well, that's an issue that we can discuss. There is right now ongoing discussion about not just the swimming pool, the entire recreational facilities at Southern High, because aside from the gym, the basketball field, the baseball field, the swimming pool, the tennis court, the backgammon, everything is not being used simply because of typhoon damages. But there's Public Works, DPR, the governor's office, they're all working together along with the Southern High and of course the superintendent. And in fact, we already have a draft joint use agreement that's being finalized to make sure, because without that, we cannot utilize the funds from Interior until we have that agreement. So it's on the table and we're working on it. Yes, the mayor was at that meeting when we had the mayor, Senator, the southern mayors actually were all invited to that. Okay, so it's on the table. Ms. G.
Mayor, Dr. Wampat is listening. And in fact, he said there was they passed a law in the 23rd legislature, but she is listening, so she knows. And for the Dedidu community gym, is a GOE facility, but it's being used by the community. And that's where Mayor Savaris and now Mayor Benavente has been providing, assistance there. Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Of course, our member Carl Torres just joined us. I'm sure he does not have a report yet to make, unless you do. No, so at the next meeting, we'll hear from you. We'll go on to the board policy 705. I know somebody wants to, Sean, you've been raising your hand. Did you want to speak on this? Or Dr. Leah? We already heard from the iBox, so we'll hear from you.
So we know that we're,
Mr. Chair, my plea is different from the two. I would just like to have a proper turnover to whoever our counterpart before our term ends on 11/59 of December 31st, so that we have proper transition. We don't want any blame game on January 2nd that we didn't do our part, we didn't properly turn over. So I would just like to ask if we can turn over. We submitted all the documents, but my area, there's a lot of stuff that I need to explain and turn over to the person who's going to take over my position. That's all I'm
Okay,
asking.
as Ms. G mentioned, Dr. Wampat is listening, and that's her. Well, I myself don't know who the counterparts are going to be that are coming in. They have not been announced, and we will not meet them until the 29th. So,
There's already names that are floating
well,
around.
until Dr. Wampat says in black and white that these are the people that are going to be in, I haven't seen any.
We just want to
But
properly turn over.
yeah, your concern is well heard with, and I'm sure Dr. Wampat hears it. And yes, she's always already been having transition meetings with the superintendent, and hopefully they can include all the deputies in that as well to make sure that all the documentation is passed on to the whoever the incoming.
Yeah, we've already submitted the documentation that they asked. All we want is, there's some stuff that cannot be put in the paper that are ongoing that we wanna, inform our.
Okay, and like I said, we're having a retreat on the 29th, and it'll be up to Dr. Wangpan if he wants to include the outgoing and the incoming. That's fine with me at least. Thank you. Chris?
Buenas noches, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on Board Policy 705. I just want to thank Ms. Gutierrez, Dr. Okada, Mr. Ada, Mr. Torres, and Dr. Guthrie's, and I believe one other person, was present for the work session yesterday that we had on this particular policy. I'll let Sean give a lot of the details. I just sort of want to talk at the 32,000-foot view here. That the intent for yesterday's work session was, and we apologize for the fact that I know that there was a document that was being addressed, I believe, at the last board meeting. And what we presented yesterday was different from that document. And but we had the opportunity to be able to go through the presentation in terms of what we were proposing or what FNSMD was proposing, which is really just to take away the operational language from the policy. So if you look at the current policy, there's a lot of operational language that's in that document. And we just thought that maybe it would be better if it's in the operating procedure, and not necessarily to bypass the board, but just that usually operational issues are at the purview of the superintendent. And usually whenever there's a need to make changes to those operating procedures, much easier and more efficient to be able to do that with the superintendent than to have to go back through the board, and you have a lengthy process that requires proper vetting, and it takes time. So nonetheless, the intent was not to remove any of the language from the policy, but to move it into an operating procedure. So a lot of the language verbatim was going to be moved into a new SOP, because there isn't one that exists now, that is called the local wellness policy, basically. And all that information that was in the policy that was operational would be found there. So what we're going to do at the next work session, we'll make sure that we show that document, the SOP in its draft form, so that the board can see that, so they'll see for every strikeout in the policy that you'll see the actual language written in the operating procedure. So the intent is not to remove exemptions or to remove any of the language. It's really just to move a lot of that information into an operating procedure, and then also to update the board policy with current CFRs or other type of supporting documents that are germane to food nutrition.
Okay, so those concerns have been brought to the working committee members, yes, so I'm sure they'll take it into consideration. It's not to diminish the jurisdiction of the board, but to enhance the transparency and the flow of issues with the superintendent to the board. So thank you. Sean?
Yeah, I would also like to, because we're being told by teachers, and we got a lot of phone calls that we are trying to take away things from them. If that's not the case at all, me and Dr. Adamas have been working feverishly with the Senator Boarx to waive the fees for the sanitary permit for people to sell and for fundraisers. Okay, so when people are getting calls from and saying that we're trying to change the board policy to attack the schools, that's not the case, sir. And I really would hope that there's more schools out there listening right now. We are not trying to hurt the schools. We're trying to enhance and ensure that we keep the board policy. We're trying to ensure that we keep the CEP. We're trying to ensure that we are in line with the federal guidelines. It's not to hurt anybody or to take away any kind of, or to gain power or retaliate against somebody. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to enhance the food programs. So that's all I'm trying to say.
I hear you, and nobody wants to go and hurt the students or the schools. So maybe what you can do, Sean, is draft something up to that effect, give it to the superintendent, to Dr. Wampat, and if she feels comfortable with it, and it's the message she wants to give to the principals and the teachers, then she should send it out. If that's what we're trying to do. Chris?
Mr. Chair, just the last thing I wanted to say was, we had a really good discussion at the work session regarding that, delicate balance between, the challenges that schools have, and I think the Teason IBOX member mentioned a lot of the different activities, prom, et cetera, right, that schools are trying to raise money to support those kind of activities, and we got that. Nobody's uncertain or doesn't know why the schools are trying to raise money, so we understand that part. But as you mentioned at your opening comment about the need to protect the program, right, and that there's reimbursement monies that are impacted by our ability or inability to enforce those CFRs and other regulations that we're held by. So I think what Sean and his team have done is they've tried to strike that balance, and it's already there. You've got your exemptions that are referenced there, but again, the idea is how do we create that balance between the integrity of the program, as well as encouraging kids to eat nutritious foods. Because I'm not saying that the main difficulty with increasing meal count participation in our schools is the competition with food, but that is the case. That's the reality. That typically the biggest fundraisers are food based, and students have a choice between eating a sloppy hamburger, and chicken nuggets in the cafeteria. Probably going to choose the sloppy hamburger. And so the issue is we need to increase meal count participation. We showed that yesterday in the work session that the participation rates are low across. But obviously in high school, it starts to nosedive pretty significantly. So, Sean's got a big challenge. He's trying to increase participation with the same respect, trying to support the schools and what they're trying to accomplish. So the proposed changes that we're trying to do with this policy are not to diminish what's already there. It's really just to move it all into an operating procedure. Thank you.
Sure, Heather.
My only concern, and I made this statement a couple of meetings ago, I don't ever want to hear that we lost federal grant for meals. We've got to make sure everything is put in writing, and that's what we're following, and share that with the people that are giving the grant. Let's not wait to be given a document and say, you did this, you did that, I'm sorry, you've just lost your federal grant. I feel that I would be blamed. I'll take the blame if that was the case. And I would not allow for us to lose federal grant for the meals for the students. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
So first, I'd like to thank Mr. Anderson and Mr. Monforte. Thank you for the very productive work session yesterday. I think what the board was confronted with yesterday was just the complete documentation. And so we already identified what is in the policy that is being removed and into the operation. We just need to see the operating procedure so that we can ensure, because yes, and the superintendent always say, trust but verify. We're going to trust that what you're removing is going to be present in the other document. We just needed to have it at the same time so that we can be assured that what we are removing is contained, but more importantly, that we meet the requirements of the CFR as updated. That has to be the underarching or the foundation for how the policy evolves. Because as long as we meet the requirements of the CFR, we can figure out the ways, the times, the dates, the hours, the locations for all the other activities to take place. But once you build the foundation, we can identify the spaces around it that become beneficial for students. And I think at the next work session that we have, when we have all the pieces together, we should be able to push it forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on Board Policy 705? If not, it's still being actively worked on, and with the new superintendent coming in, we should be able to get results by the next board.
And there's no changes.
But like the vice chair says, we need to see something in writing, in black and white.
But we're keeping the policy as is. I don't know where that's going.
Sean, in black and white so that we are all on the same page. Okay? Thank you. Board Policy 377, this is Brett, Vice Chair. I know that the individuals involved or being affected by this met with the governor sometime last week. So I had mentioned to the governor that this is on the agenda and that it's something that we had discussed before and we were actually waiting for something from the superintendent, or go ahead, Vice
That's
Chair.
correct. So there have been several iterations of this bonus reward incentive program. And so the last time we had this discussion, we were still pending a final document or the updated document. So we'll wait for that updated document before it comes to the board, after we put it through committee.
Okay. I know Head Start is here. I know Angelina is on leave because of a death in the family. But Alan, is that report in our list of documents? Since you're only making a report and there's no action item, we'll just go ahead and submit the report and we'll read. We'll take it as read. Okay? Thank you. One question.
So on the policies, or on the policy review and strategic planning committee, because the amended board policies 105, 105.1, 115, 120.2, 120.4, 125.3, 125.12, and 130 have been on the agenda. Did you want to suspend this until the incoming superintendent reviews it, or are we ready to vote on this?
In deference to, it's me. I would rather just suspend it until she comes in, unless she makes unless there's other board members that want to go ahead and take action now. So is there any motion to just wait till the incoming superintendent? Hold on.
What is the motion?
She made a motion
What is the
to
motion?
wait until the superintendent
To
comes
wait.
in. Yeah.
Can you, so that in the minutes it's reflected, can you rephrase your motion?
I respectfully move that these other policies, both policies, will be discussed when the superintendent comes in.
Board policy from 1 to 8 is listed on this agenda.
Yes, from number 1 to 8.
Any second, Dr. Guthrie? Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So these amendments would be kept on the next regular meeting of the board in January for voting. Okay? Fiscal, we will just dispense with that until we meet with the new superintendent, unless Mr. Superintendent, you have anything to add or to discuss or to minus or to?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Under new business, we've already heard from the Panitakan tomorrow. And so the next one is the GDOE Management and Curriculum Audit Report that requires action from the board. Vice Chair?
So yesterday, the committee met, or the board members met to discuss the management audit and management and curriculum audit. And based on the conversations that we have, there are several, actually I want to make a motion that let me just pull out my computer because I typed it up. Just give me a second. The motion, the Guam Education Board has reviewed the management and curriculum audit and recommends that the consultants update certain areas of the report to reflect some, and I quote, errors of fact. In addition, the Guam Education Board will provide areas for further discussion and implementation. There's some serious errors on this. In other words, so my motion is to suspend voting on this until we correct the errors of fact. Because even with the board members' titles, for example, Mrs. G is not a sales consultant. And, well, you know, I mean, there's some critical, I mean, you know, aside from that, but there's some cosmetic things that need to be fixed. So I call them errors of fact that we need to correct before an official document actually goes out. Because
Okay.
these
There's a
pieces need to
motion
be
by
fixed.
the Vice Chair.
Or you can suspend it,
Second
or you can
is for-
table
to
it.
suspend the voting or the acceptance of this management report until, well, we still need to respond and make the corrections. So it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Dr. Magnich?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
What's going on here?
I know, like, he's my friend. Mr. Chairman, is there any way we can ask for our money back from that report? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there any way we can ask for our money back from that report?
Have they been paid? How much?
I think it's over $300,000.
$400,000?
Yeah, it was about 400,000 something.
My undergraduate class could do a better job.
Your freshman class.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Ms. G?
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna be like Mr. Ada. I just think that was trash. When I read the report, it's more of tattletailing. Board members are talking to people, stakeholders. There's just a lot of, and then they were using Evergreen. I was on this board with the Evergreen. We did never accepted the Evergreen. So now they were using that, and that specifically when we met with them, I said, do not refer to the Evergreen because we did not accept, the board did not accept. And Dr. Wampat was the author of that bill, first bill for management audit. A lot of them, oh, the website this, the website is that. That's not true. We never had a retreat with the board, the management or whatever. It says there, status, no, partial, yes. Surprising was Mr. Fernandez was here. We had retreat. So whoever was interviewed with that is wrong. Board members have to file conflict of interest for Guam Election Commission. 100% wrong. The only one that files conflict of interest at the Election Commission are the appointed members. A lot of this, as we read, it was like, I agree with Mr. Ada. Then I said, trust. Because those that are being, and you know, I do not, when they don't come back to the board to validate where they were talking about the board. So like Dr. Wampat, Dr. Rogers, we should just forget it because I'm not voting for that. It's trash. It's more like everybody is finger pointing who is at fault, who is at fault. And that's not the way that management audit is supposed to be. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Magnich?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we know who at the legislature wanted us to have this report done?
I believe it's a bill sponsored by Senator Burnett.
Senator Ryan, can we just ask him if he thinks he got his money's worth?
We haven't distributed it. So that's why I want, at a minimum, I think we should have errors of fact corrected so that the official titles of individuals are there, that we should identify that any references to Evergreen be removed from the report. I mean, we should at least give them an opportunity for us to provide some feedback to it and then allow for an opportunity for them to make the corrections. Normally that happens when we do accreditation reports. When a report comes out, you're given the opportunity to correct errors of fact, and then it's redone. My preference is not to vote on this because there's some areas that are incorrect. And at a later date, we can either accept the report or reject the report. There is a component of the contract that allows for implementation, which is why I said there are some areas in the report that are good, that warrant further discussion and implementation. So we've spent some money on this. There's some areas that we might agree on that can continue to move forward with some guidance. And those I'm not opposed to, but I mean, we should at least correct it first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam Dr. Okada. Just in general, Mr. Chair, in the future, if we can all be mindful as board members, we do have the Guam Community College, we do have the University of Guam. They could have produced a very good report that would have actually been more inclusive in terms of reflecting probably some things that maybe this report did not. So certainly I thank Madam for raising that point. Also thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so it's the pleasure of the board to hold this management audit in abeyance until either we submit the corrections and they accept it, or we just reject it altogether as not meeting the real issues at hand with GDOE as far as management is concerned.
And Mr. Chairman, if you would allow me to be that communication to the consultants, I'll work with Dr. Wampat and make sure that she's aware of the requests for updates.
Unless anyone has any objections, you are it. So thank you, Dr. Okada. There's one more item here that needs action, and I see it here. It says Declaration of Financial Status Designation, April, May, and June. No action? Okay. I see it on the agenda.
So the declaration of financial status designation, and this is basically for April, May, and June, there is a committee that reviews the expenditures against budget for the Guam Department of Education. So whenever there's an over expenditure or an over expenditure, then they're provided codes, red, green, yellow, so that we can identify it early on in the year so that we don't end up in a deficit at the end of the year. And there's usually timing issues between drawing down certain components of the general fund allotment schedule versus, and it's for the most part, it's a timing issue. And when action is provided by the board, it's because the superintendent has prepared a corrective action to address the code reds.
Thank you. Well, we've gone through the agenda. I don't think there's any need to go into executive session. But before we adjourn this meeting, the superintendent, as I mentioned earlier, this is his last meeting. And he'll be leaving Island on this weekend. So he's still the superintendent until the 31st of this month. And so therefore, in his absence, he's already appointed a acting superintendent. Go ahead and announce that, Dr. Swanson.
Yes, the acting superintendent in my absence will be Mr. Wade Paul. And I'll still be in the email loop, but we're trying to take care of any major transaction. This is also at Dr. Wampat's request to get them all done before I leave. So it's a matter of caretaking and keeping the lights on and wheels turning.
And so before we adjourn, anyone want the privilege of board members to say? Oh, before we get to that, Mr. Ada, go ahead and announce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Upon consulting with Dr. McNitch, I am requesting, I had spoken with new member Carl Torres, if he would consider to sit with us in the Health and Safety Committee. So I'd like to ask you, as Mr. Chair, to ask the question to Mr. Torres, whether he wants to, and whatever the board's decision is. I really would hope that we can have Mr. Torres join this committee. Thank you.
Mr. Torres?
Yes, I accept.
So, Mr. Anna, there's your answer. He's accepted to be a member of the Health and Safety Committee. Anyone want to speak? Dr. McNinch, I'm sorry, Dr. Guthertz?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Dr. Swanson, thank you so much for all of your kind service and support here on our board as superintendent of our Department of Education. Being the superintendent of the Department of Education is no question the hardest job of any public manager on Guam. And so certainly you have my absolute strong feelings of support and kindness for your future endeavors. We certainly appreciate all of your very hard work here. So, thank you.
Dr. Guthertz?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Dr. Swanson. I also would like to really extend my sincere appreciation for all of your hard work these last couple of years. I know it has been very challenging, but and I've only been on the board here since January, but I appreciate all your work, your commitment to our community here, our administrators, our staff, all of the employees, our students, and all of the stakeholders for our school system. And I think one of the things I really admire about you is your patience in attending legislative meetings. I know that's 2-3 times a week he's at the legislature attending a hearing and giving testimony or answering questions, and you know that's a big part of the job, and it's not easy sometimes. Having been in the legislature on that side of the aisle where the senators are, I've seen questioning, not by myself, but by others, that I often wonder about the relevance to some of the things that are up for discussion. But I'm sure they mean well, but you have to really have a thick skin to be able to represent this department before the legislature and some other key offices of the government as well. And one of the things I want to commend you for, and also our employees here, is I've seen a real commitment over the last few months to stay on top of federal initiatives that affect our department. And I'm so happy that you've been able to get reimbursed at least 3 or 4 times already on some federal expenditures, reimbursed back to us under the new system they're using. And that says a lot. And that starts with the leadership, setting the example for our other administrators and our rank and file employees. I hope that continues with the next superintendent, because you can't go to sleep without knowing what executive orders of the president were signed today. You've got to be on top of that all the time, because a lot of those things affect public education and affect our island. And the person at the top has to know what's going on and make sure everybody else in their areas of responsibility know what's going on, to be able to deal and be flexible with all the changes that are occurring. That's the only way we're going to be able to move forward, is to be able to handle these changes the best way we can and be responsible and accountable in how we perform in our relationship with the federal government, and also in our community as well. And you set a good example for that, Dr. Swanson. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Ms. G.
Dr. Swanson, I am very proud, and I can say now have the opportunity that when we were searching for superintendent, that I made that selection, the nomination to nominate you to be the superintendent after Don Fernandez. I have no regrets. You're doing your best, but sometimes when you're in a position, sometimes it's hard to get 100% support, but you hang on to it. I thank you for being here. And you and I sometimes we agree to disagree, but we always come to a conversation. That is what's good for the students. When NASB comes to Georgia for their next annual conference, I'll make sure that we reach out to you so you come join us. Because I have a feeling it's going to be in Georgia the next time around. So I wish you the best of luck and have a safe trip home. Thank you, Dr. Swanson.
Dr. Vice Chair?
Trust but verify.
What she said.
Trust but verify. We often had that conversation, and I thank you for sharing that with me because it's important that you trust the people around you, but you verify what it is that they bring to the table. You entered the department when we just got out of a typhoon, and you managed to orchestrate, facilitate, and implement a lot of the refurbishments for the school campuses. And I think the campus community would be is very appreciative because we struggled with it a little bit. There's a lot that's been happening within the department for the past several years. And I think after seeing the results of this last Smarter Balance assessment, you knew exactly where we needed to go and how it needed to be addressed. So I thank you for starting that conversation with the teachers and the administration and the leaders so that we can get students to where they need to be. As incremental as it is, it's important for us because our students are important to all of us. Thank your wife for accompanying you and being your support. Thank her for supporting you through this process as well. We wish you the best.
Tim?
Well, I already told them at the meeting we had last week how I felt about it.
Just between you two?
We'll keep it private.
Well, Carlson knew, so I'm sure he'd probably say thank you for at least being here. Ms. Felly?
Doctor, thank you so much for all the things you have done in the department. From day one of your term of duty up to the last day of working in this department. So thank you so much. And I wish you good luck. And we were just talking earlier, I think that was yesterday. And you were telling me that when you get back to the States, you're going to work again. So probably it's time for you to retire. I think you need to rest and spend the rest of your life with your family. You've been working so hard. There's no doubt about that. And I'm so proud to be a part of this board and being with you in all these board meetings. So I wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope you will come back to Guam.
Okay, well, to answer your question, yes, he'll be back in June for another reason. Dr. Swanson, 6 months after you came into the department, I don't know whether you remember the words you said at the legislature. You spent more time at the legislature than at DOE answering to their questions. Let me mention when Sanchez Elementary School was going to be closed. Oh my God, you should have heard the fighting that was going on this. but they did it. I was there in that board. What you did with the closure of Brody and LBK, you made that so smooth. You had a few rebuttals about Brody, but it was accepted. And it took a lot, it's the way you have presented the case. I don't think I can have done that, what you did. And I want to thank you. I just told you this evening that I accepted your resignation on one condition. Do you recall what that was?
No.
And you expected to go back to work again? And his short memory? Anyway.
The first sign is short-term memory loss.
Anyway, Doc. No, wait, what? When it's your turn, you're talking, you talk and talk and talk. Now it's me. It's my turn. And I talk very little. I want to thank you so much for all that you've done in the 3 years that you've been here with us. And you did one hell of a job. And I want to thank you and your wife and your daughter and your grandson who stayed behind, but we'll all be flying out with you on the 20th. God bless you, Godspeed, and don't work anymore. My God. Yeah, thank you.
Very briefly, that's a dangerous statement coming from a family of preachers. What does that mean? Not much. It's been a challenge for sure, but first of all, I want to point out that all the success that we had is not me. That's a whole big team of people that put a lot of heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into the work. We were handed some tasks that were ridiculously difficult right out of the chute. And we managed to pull that together, overcome it, and get the job done. And it took the whole team, all the folks that are here and the people that work for them in their departments. It's a privilege to lead people who have the heart to go to do the hard stuff. And that's been a success. We've got a lot accomplished, but there's a lot more to do. And I wish Dr. Wampat the very best in the endeavor to carry this forward. This has been a journey that started 25 years ago here. So when I go home this week, we will fall into the day after Christmas to celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary that was instituted here on Guam. We were married in St. John's 25 years ago on the 26th of December, because the church was already decorated and it was the semester break, because my wife was working in Japan and I was here, and so we tried to get everything to happen, and you had to do it between semesters when it was kind of quiet. So it's been an endeavor. It's been a joy. We have long-standing friends from 25 years ago and now from this sojourn as well. Guam has always been a special place for us. Where else would I meet a girl from Mississippi? And an extra daughter who's turned out, oh, by the way, Sheena did leave at the beginning of the school year. She just finished her first semester in her doctoral program at East Tennessee State University because she wants to be a principal. So that's 3 for 3 on our kids as career educators. So thank you all very much. The dog and the cat leave tomorrow. If you have any influence on the legislature, we've got to do something about what it costs to move a pet on and off its island. Their trip home costs more than the 2 business class tickets for my wife and I. $6,000 to send the dog and the cat back to the States. And it's because of the way the rules are written right now. And it's a regular family. That's where part of the stray dog problem's coming from. Is because I've heard it over and over again. We can't afford to take them, so they just turn them out. It's a real part of the problem. And they haven't been neutered or spayed. So there you go. Anyway, thank you all very much. It's been quite a chore. I did become a YouTube influencer thanks to the legislature. because I've actually had people stop me on the street. I see you on TV. Even little kids, you're the guy on TV. So I don't particularly like that kind of notoriety, but we did what we needed to do for the kids, and it's always been about that. It's never going to be about anything else for me. And if I do work more, it will be at a consulting level, part-time, just to keep my brain from rusting, because I don't want that to happen. Thank you.
Anyone else want to say something? If not, I just also like to take this opportunity to thank not just Dr. Swanson, but the people, like you mentioned earlier, that were behind him. You have Wade, you have Joe, you have Dr. Leah, Dr. Adamus, we have Chris there, and we have our legal counsel. We have Kat, who's been with us since the beginning, and Damon has just joined us recently, but and we have people that are going to stay behind, like Jimmy and Sean and the others that are classified and sitting way back there. Jordan, I wasn't on the board when they selected Dr. Swanson. In fact, when he started in July of 2023, and he sat before us in this very room, I asked him, are you sure you want to take on this job? Have you thought of going right back where you came from? Because of all the things you hear or read, hear on the radio, read in the papers, people speaking to you about what's been before. But one thing I can say is that he stuck on. This gentleman, and I call him a gentleman because he has been a gentleman since the very start. You've never seen him raise his voice or raise his fist and say, damn it, it's my way or the highway. And if there's anything I take away from the leadership of Dr. Swanson, is that he gives everybody a chance. He gives everybody a chance to improve themselves and make a difference. And I just wish that, not because I don't want Dr. Wampat to take over, I just wish that this day would not come and we would give Dr. Swanson his opportunity to finish his contract. But I also know, as I personally know, that health comes first. And if we don't take care of our health, then what would matter next if we're not here anymore? So to Dr. Swanson and your team, I don't care what anybody says. You've made a difference in this department. You've improved GDOE from what it was before to what it is now. And though there are many more improvements that we can make and must make, one thing I can say is that you started us on the right track. And people see that. Students see that. Parents see that. We see that. And all we wish for Dr. Wampat is to carry on the good things that you have started. And when she does that, I'll tell you, GDOE will continue to soar. GDOE will continue to succeed. But be proud, Dr. Swanson, because what you started 2 years ago will be carried on by others. And whether you're here or in Georgia, your spirit, your legacy would always be here. And I'm gonna tell you that even after you're gone, the rats ain't gonna come out because you've taken away all those rats and we move on. So si Zeus Masi, to you, to Susan, and to your family, God bless you. Merry Christmas, safe trip back home, and watch us every time we have a board meeting. And we'll mention Dr. Swanson. Susan, thank you very much for sharing your husband with us. these past few years. And thank you to you for being there for him always, and also your family. Jesus Masi, Dr. Swanson. God bless you. And with that, do I hear the motion to adjourn? Miss, an announcement?
Deputy Paul, thank you for taking on to be the acting superintendent. I think you will work, lead the department to December 31st. Dr. Swanson.
He's been already given orders
Yeah,
not to finish all the money.
I know. Yeah, that's one thing we asked that do not. But thank you. Congratulations.
But Wade
to
and
you.
Joe, Dr. Leah, Dr. Barbara's not here. But Jesus Masi, I don't know who the new team is. I really don't. We haven't been introduced, at least I haven't been told who they are. But be that as it may, thank you to all of you. God bless you. You've been a great part of the success of Dr. Swanson, so be proud of that as well. Jesus Masi. Thank you. And there's motion to adjourn, no exception, meeting adjourned. Our next meeting is when? Kat, January?
January 20.
Our regular meeting,
January 20.
January
20.
20th, Tuesday, January 20th. Isn't that a holiday? No?
19.
19th is a holiday. Well, thank you all. God bless you. Merry Christmas to all of you.